Freelancing in 2022 by yours truly, Margaret of Article and Design. Hi, Super Freelancers, this is Margaret. If you're new here, I am a digital marketing strategist for over 9 years now. I'm based in Australia, but I consider myself a global citizen. I am the owner of Article and Design, where we teach freelancers to stop charging $1 per hour, create their premium freelancer journey, and set clients for life. If you'd like to know more about freelancing and business, you can connect with your fellow freelancers and business owners through the following channels that we have. Just search for Article and Design on YouTube, Spotify, Facebook page, and Facebook group. And please subscribe to us and give us a like and let us know your thoughts. I look forward to hearing from you. So guys, this topic is supposed to be a live webinar for our community in Facebook group. However, I am not in my best health at the moment due to my allergies. So I'm recording this for you. And you can listen or watch this on our Facebook page, group, and YouTube channel. And you can also listen to the audio version on Spotify. Thank you once again for understanding my current health situation. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to leave in the comments below of this video, or if you're listening to this on Spotify, please join our Facebook group and post your questions. I'll be happy to answer them. Without any further ado, guys, let's get down to the topic of discussion today. Freelancing in 2022, and how are you going to prepare to crush it? This goes out to all starting freelancers and existing freelancers. By the end of this video lesson, you will learn first is changes in the freelancing industry as in general. And number 2, what are the pros and cons of these changes? Number 3, your roadmap to freelancing in 2022. I'll share with you some tips that you can follow. And number 4 is the best time to start freelancing was actually 10 years ago. But the second best time is now. And I'll tell you why. Changes in the freelancing industry. So first, let's discuss if there are changes in the freelancing industry this 2022. As a freelancer myself for over 9 years, I started last 2012 or 2011, there's an innovation happening in technology every year. So given this fact, it's expected that it's always moving and ever-changing in this line of work that we have. I can't discuss with you all of the changes, especially the details in the tech, and what freelancing careers will rise next year, because it's your job to do your research. There's a lot of research, guys. So just go to Google, go to Facebook, go to YouTube, and search for the in-demand skills this 2022. However, we're going to release an episode on that on the podcast on Season 5. These past 2 years have been significant for remote or project-based work. We all have seen that. We've seen also how this pandemic changed how we work and how businesses fell and rose. And other companies grew exponentially, like, of course, the healthcare and the fintech, or the financial tech. There are a lot of changes, but I think the two most crucial differences is that we saw an exponential surge of freelancers during this pandemic, and that businesses are also taking advantage of these project-based workers. So let's continue to discuss what are the pros and cons of these changes, given what I said earlier. According to the Irish Times, COVID became a catalyst of the shift in the working environment. So in this case, the freelancing or remote worker as a context. So other corporate workers who got laid off from jobs turned into freelancing as well. For example, when we started the Super Freelancers community or the Article and Design Facebook group last year, members from the BPO industry turned into freelancing and used their skills to find a work from home job. Other people that I know from our community learned the skills along the way. For example, they studied social media, and in order for them to provide a profitable skill to offer in freelancing, because they transitioned from a corporate work and now into freelancing work that is entirely not related to what work they had previously. Businesses turn into remote work setup as well. We've seen that coming. And corporate executives now have access to a pool of skilled, talented, and highly motivated independent workers. And of course, with no overhead costs. Based on research studies as well, and all of the published news that I've read, there are many companies that we're going to introduce a hybrid work mode this 2022. Just one of my clients, who is also a corporate worker, they will start to introduce the hybrid mode of work in their company. Actually, they introduced last October already, meaning you can work from home and work in the office on some days of the week. Long story short, guys, freelancing was already a thing even 10 years ago. Even when I was starting freelancing, I thought, nahuli na ako. But we saw a massive growth last year, and based on the predictions, it will continue that way. As in my case, I have been a freelancer since 2011, and I have no plans stopping being a freelancer, even this 2022. As Robert Nicol, who is the founder and president of Rocket Science, or Rocket Station, said that the pandemic taught the business world two lessons. First is that a remote workforce is a viable option and often preferable. Second is that average person wants flexibility and freedom in their life. That's why they will always prefer a work from home setup or a freelance kind of job. Well, not most, but they prefer, okay? Given the profit is actually good. Obviously, I'm omitting a lot of great and bad news about this fact, especially on the side of employers or businesses. Because, of course, guys, as an agency owner myself, there's a lot of consequences in hiring remote workers. But let us focus on the freelancers in this discussion. So, all things considered, that's a positive news, right? So, what can be the issue now, if you ask me? We have to look at it on the other side as well. So, allow me to wear my pessimist hat here so that we can put a balance in this discussion. So, if there's a surge in freelancing, the question now is that, Margaret, will there be any saturation? If all of us become freelancers, how can I get clients, Margaret? Sobrang dami na namin. I raise this question not because I see this as a consequence, guys, but because I get this question a lot. You know, my honest answer to this, if this is your first question, or this is the first thing that comes to your mind, which actually a valid one, but actually I could say that you have a bigger problem than being a freelancer, if this is your concern. And go figure why, okay? However, I'm not going to invalidate this question because this is true. And I could empathize on that one, especially in the Philippine setting, and where most freelancers are racing to the bottom of the barrel to book a client. For example, you join the Upwork, join the Fiverr, and etc., online jobs page, etc. And God forbid, guys, I don't want to witness the time when freelancers will start charging 50 cents per hour just to get a gig. That's the worst thing. That's the worst thing that I never wanted to experience. That's where you and I will come in at Article and Design's mission. I know it's scary to start freelancing, but that's the reason why we are here. Our mission is to help you understand the freelancing profession and how to create a thriving career out of this. We do not focus on sleazy tactics and charging the lowest rates because that's the easiest to get clients. We focus on knowledge and wisdom, if you will. Yes, I know there will be a lot of freelancers you will compete with, but the outsourcing trend continues to rise, and more companies realize the advantages of this asynchronous work. As mentioned by Robert earlier, COVID made setting a remote workforce even more an imperative, and the market was ripe for a service that supports freelancers, while providing businesses with a simple, fast, and very cost-effective way of connecting with relevant expertise. So it's a bit of a misconception that we think that freelancers are only hired by startups or smaller companies. There are also bigger companies, guys, that also use freelancers. So number 3, your roadmap to freelancing in 2022. I'll divide this discussion between starting freelancers and, of course, existing freelancers. For starting freelancers, before you do anything else, I'd like you to really decide on these 6 things. First is accumulate a savings account balance so that if it takes a while to build up a steady stream of work, which probably you will very much encounter, you have money to cover your bills, especially when you're transitioning in freelancing, or if this is your first time and you don't have any other mode of income. I suggest at least 6 months of your base rate that you have accumulated already before you start your freelancing career, especially this 2022. Second, use an invoicing app or tool to manage your accounts. I highly suggest this. And save at least 20% for your taxes. Number 3 is have an actual plan for what work you'll do. When are you going to do it? And how you acquire clients. So later on, I will discuss to you a Super Freelancers Best Year Ever plan to help you with the actual plan. Number 4 is have a plan for getting health insurance or life insurance. Because as a freelancer, mostly hindi na ito ibibigay ng mga employees mo. You are responsible for these things. Number 5 is talk to people who have been freelancing for a while to get first-hand accounts of their experiences. That's the reason we build the article and design community. That's the reason we have this podcast. That's the reason we have all these courses and 6 a.m. club that we have is for all freelancers to talk to each other and help each other. And of course, guys, number 6, since the industry will be very competitive this 2022, you have to adopt a beginner's mindset. If you came from a corporate work or has a prior work or experience, I suggest you drop your ego and entitlement and begin from a clear slate. You use your experience before and you use it wisely and not feed your ego. For current freelancers, and of course, this is also helpful for starting freelancers. These are my tips for you in creating a roadmap for 2022. Number 1 is you have to really find your zone of genius in market segment if you haven't yet. Okay, I'm saying this, Margaret, I'm already a freelancer. Why are you telling me this? I'm saying this because I've seen a lot of freelancers who hasn't really identified or nailed down their zone of genius. Sayang kasi marami silang talent, talaga marami silang alam gawin, but hindi nila to nail down properly. So what is your zone of genius? This is basically what you're good at, or what you will be good at if you're still treating yourself as a generalist, or something that you think you can solve better than anybody else in this room. Okay? So the question is, are you a jack of all trades? Which most of us are, especially when you're starting. If it can't be helped, guys, marami kang kailangan gawin, or you're that type of person who is wired to do a lot of things, I suggest to find at least 3 closely related skills lang para hindi ka masyado maguluhan. So what are those things? For example, writing, social media, newsletter, copywriting. So the common denominator of these things are actually content writing. Because according to Meredith Hill, she said that when you speak to everyone, you speak to no one. And in marketing, if you confuse, you lose. So we need to at least narrow down your zone of genius or your market segment. In my case, guys, of course, I experienced this as well. I started as a freelance writer, and then I also became a generalist because I wanted to learn a lot of things. I wanted to do a lot of things until I specialized into 3 related skills in business development as well. If you're having a hard time choosing a market segment, you pick up at least 3 market segments and work around it. Okay, you start with that one until you have nailed down what you really want to do and where is the most profitable for you. Or where are you most effective at? Don't get too overcomplicated in this part, since most people are really stuck in this. Even if you want 3 years na silang freelancers or 5 years now, they are still stuck on this part. You don't need to nail this down 100% at the start if you really want to make that mula, but I suggest you try to nail this down dahan-dahan na ngayon pa lang, and you will thank yourself later. So, long story short, what I'm trying to say is now is the time to specialize if you haven't yet. So there are 4 approaches that I could help you on how to specialize. First is you can have the vertical approach specialization. What do I mean? You can pick a market vertical. For example, you only work with the health industry people. You only work with, for example, the segment of that market is fitness coaches. Or segment of that market is a keto diet coaches. Right? Number 2 is horizontal approach specialization. You specialize in solving a specific problem or applying a specific form of expertise to what? For example, you're specialized in designing online workshops. You're specialized in creating newsletters. It doesn't have to be in the health industry, of course. You design workshops or newsletters for any business. That's a horizontal approach. And number 3, this is one of my most favorite thing, is the platform advantage. You specialize, for example, in using ClickFunnels or using Canva. You specialize in that, find and know the ins and outs of ClickFunnels or in Canva, and you offer that kind of skill that you have. For small to medium business owners, Canva specialists, for social who need social media manager, for etc. etc. Or you're a sales funnel designer using ClickFunnels. So platform advantage. Number 4 is also a very good advantage, which is the market advantage. It's quite similar to the first 2 things that I've discussed, but you specialize in, for example, a certain type of market. mental health coaches, finance gurus, for example, startups, for example, digital agencies, for example, coaches like me, etc. Right? So you get the gist. While you are establishing your zone of genius, guys, you have to learn to manage your imposter syndrome, because this happens even to the best of us. And this happens most of the time, especially to freelancers who are actually really creative, and freelancers who are achiever, and freelancers who are ambitious. Tinatamaan tayo lagi ng imposter syndrome. If you want to learn more how to manage your imposter syndrome, just go to Article and Design podcast. We have an episode there on how to manage your imposter syndrome or how to overcome it. So that's the first. If wala pa kayo, and if you're having a hard time, please you find and decide in your zone of genius and your market segment. And that will be really, really helpful in this 2022, given that there's a lot of freelancer coming in. Number 2 is adopt the art of learning. This is from LG Electronics. It's one of the webinars that I attended last time, and they coined the term art, which is art of learning. A is for attend a class, meaning you attend webinars, you attend cohorts, you attend communities. But of course, you have to be very careful in this, guys, kasi baka magkakaroon kayo ng shiny object syndrome. You just have to choose, okay, at least 1 to 2 or 3 groups or mga cohorts na attendan mo and focus on that one. So you approach this as a long-term relationship, not simply as a networking to take advantage. This can lead to a lot of potential work in the long run, for sure. That's a given. But you have to provide value, and other people will provide value to you as well. One of the communities or classes that you can attend to is basically the Article and Design Facebook group. You can join there. It's for free. And also, we have our 6 a.m. club group if you wanted to have an intimate productivity accountable partners to help you with your freelancing and business journey. And of course, we also have a paid version of our community that you will get an invitation very soon. And the R in the art is actually read or listen to a book, because there's an audiobook now, right? So if you're not reading in the past 2 years, it's time to start reading and cancel that Netflix, guys. If reading is not your thing, you can join the book club. Article on Design will launch its own book club this January 2022, so watch out for it. You can join and let's discuss what we learned about books that we've read about business and, of course, freelancing. And the T in art, guys, is take an online paid course. Why paid, Margaret? Why not free? Okay, ito lang yung short answer ko dyan. Because I also have paid and free courses, but this is one thing that I noticed. People do not value what's free most of the time. Okay, when you invested a financial aspect to something, you are accountable and reliable. Okay, most of my students who paid for my courses are the ones that are doing the work, are the ones that I'm seeing some results in their lives, not those who took advantage of the free things or the free stuff. What I'm trying to say is when we invested into something, especially on a monetary value, nagkakaroon tayo ng responsibility. Kasi pag binigay lang natin ng libre, hindi natin pinaghirapan, babaliwalain natin yan. Okay? You will argue with me why pay for courses, and that's fine. Okay? My answer is, of course, pay for those quality and practical courses from practitioners only, because maraming scam ngayon. Not from those selling you the idea of freelancing and getting rich because of you. Yung mga inuto nila. I'm sorry for the word, but that's true. Not from their freelancing career itself. So I'm gonna leave you with this quote that I did. Growth. How do we define growth in freelancing or business? Growth is when you realize that some gurus who preach freelancing to get the 6-figure earnings that they're actually claiming didn't get there with their freelancing practice. They got rich by selling you the idea of freelancing through their hefty price courses and affiliates, subscriptions, etc. If you look at their track record, they were never a practitioner to begin with, sa totoo lang. If there was, wala masyadong experience doon. There's nothing wrong with creating courses. Of course, I'm also creating courses. This is another way to look at it if you really want to check out or investigate on your courses that you're going to pay for. So this is from me, of course, Margaret, and I'm proud to say that I'm a practitioner for over 9 years now, and I'm not just a fly-by-night guru. So number 3 is optimize these 3 things. You always have to remember that there's a difference between effective work and being workaholic. So doing an effective work doesn't need you to do work for 12 hours a day. Workaholic is that one, doing at least 24 hours work without really getting into the results that you need. So please always do the effective work, not being just a workaholic. You optimize these three things. Environment first. Environment, of course, it can literally be like your workroom or your desk environment and how you're going to work. You optimize that. The more optimized your environment is, mas magana ka magtrabaho. Put all the signals, put all the quotes, put all the reminders there para ma-remind ka what your goal is, bakit mo ito ginagawa. And of course, environment may also include people, guys. Pwede ito siyang mga toxic friends or even toxic relatives. I'm sorry. You may now go sa life mo if you really want to make it in this 2022. And next is your habits. Do you spend 8 hours watching K-dramas or mga ang probinsyano? Tama ba yun? And 2 hours of deep work lang ginagawa mo? So I think now is the time to check on that one. All right? And your routine. What are you doing first thing in the morning? Are you tumatambay ka ba sa Facebook mo kaagad? Kumukuha ka kaagad ng dopamine hits mo? So I don't know what works for you, honestly. Iba-iba tayo eh. So create, okay, a routine that fits your lifestyle and your strength. It's not like a routine that you've seen on YouTube videos from influencers, because those influencers, and even I myself, guys, you and I are entirely different individuals. We are composed of different DNAs in our body, okay? So whatever works for you, you have to find that whatever fits your lifestyle. Because the purpose why you chose to be a freelancer is to create the freedom and flexibility sa life mo. Establish a routine that will promote an effective work, not being a workaholic. Because the danger is you're gonna get burnt out. Number 4 is take charge of your marketing. Okay, lagi ko itong sinasabi because I myself is biased in learning marketing. Of course, the marketing, not the sleazy marketing way. So first is, have you created your freaking portfolio already? So do not rely on Upwork, Fiverr, and even Facebook or Instagram. I know, of course, TikTok now is also working, but don't put your life around it. Don't put your life around this basket, guys, that you don't own. Instead, you should be building your own platform that attracts clients. And one of that one is your own website or your portfolio website. So you have to create one for your own. And this way, those platforms, probably they will suddenly go away. You still have a client base that you don't have to build up again. Because meron kang sarili mo. Probably all those clients that book dun sa contact form mo, all those clients that reach out to you dun sa yung strategy call, then all those clients na nag-visit sa website mo, and you can run again, retarget them using the pixel and create an ad for that one. So you own that. Okay, not owned by Facebook, not owned by somebody else, not owned by Upwork, Fiverr, etc., or even LinkedIn. I can't stress it enough. You create your freaking portfolio already if you really want to nail this in 2022. And second, take charge of your marketing. Okay, do not rely on freelancing platforms. I've said earlier, do not rely on internship. Okay, come on. Do not beg your way to join agencies as well. These things are a surefire way to burn you out. And of course, you can't earn enough from this one. I'm not saying these are wrong and these are bad things, but I'm saying do not rely solely on these things. You have to take charge of your marketing. Of course, next is if you want to learn how to do marketing, guys, pricing your services and positioning yourself as having the expertise, not an expert. Of course, yes, I'm calling you out, all these fake gurus out there. You can enroll in our Filipino Freelancers Marketing Bible. As of this time, while recording this, probably this will air 23 of December or 22. It will be on its launching price of 1,700 pesos only till the end of this year, 2021. Just go to articleanddesigncourses.com. All our courses are on sale until December 31, and bago pa siya, okay, mag-change yung prices niya on its newer price. So I suggest if you want to grab our courses from Marketing and Design, now is the time habang mura pa siya. Number 5 is you create your Super Freelancers best year plan. If nothing happened last year, guys, maybe it's time to look at it and assess yourself, and probably it's time to change and take control of that one. The best thing here, guys, with your freelancing or businesses, we can take control of the things that's happening. Okay, law of accumulation, or of course the universal law of cause and effect. You can't expect things to change if you will not change how you do things, right? Nothing will change if nothing will change. So I'm going to share with you a Super Freelancers best year plan, and you can create your own plan. I'm just going to share with you how you can do that one. So let's click this. So the Super Freelancers best year plan is basically just like this. So your prerequisites first is ganito. First, I'd like you to create a clear vision for the next 12 months. Remember the SMART goals. So check episode 27 of our Article and Design podcast to help you. And of course, create your financial goals. It can be personal or business. And of course, if you have debts that you have to pay, add it down, how are you going to pay it. Of course, if you're supporting a charity, etc. And what income streams can support these goals? Probably, of course, you're a freelancer, you offer a service-based business, or you are a designer, Canva designer, you create templates that you can sell. You also have other gigs, you want micro gigs in America. And of course, you can create your own YouTube channel if that's one thing that you want to do. And of course, you can probably write your blog. Okay? Of course, and after that one, you create your quarterly plans now. You divide it into the 4 quarters of 12 months. Of course, quarter one, first quarter, you jot down the 3 major goals that you want to accomplish and always schedule a rest day. For example, March 29 is your rest day for the first quarter, and you assess your performance. And it's the same thing for quarter 2. Schedule a rest day, and quarter 3, schedule a rest day and assess your performance, and so on and so forth until quarter 4. And for good measure, guys, this is what I always tell my students in Article and Design. When you are successful, please include to thank everyone who helped you in your success. They deserve to be in your future, celebrating your best version. Because after all, sa totoo lang, it is not destiny that put you where you are. It is you and all the concerted efforts of other people who cares for you as well. Bakit mo na-achieve yung mga bagay-bagay? And if you haven't accomplished everything you needed by the end of this 2022, don't be too hard on yourself because life is short. So if you're ready to make 2022 your best year ever, guys, so stop snoozing. And for Pete's sake, follow the things that we're blabbing in this group sa ating Article and Design community in our podcast. Check out Article and Design podcast on Spotify and YouTube. Or better yet, I suggest you enroll in our courses to get a guide. Okay, so stay grounded, my friends. And let's go back to my other slide. So you were saying, kanina, Margaret, the best time to start freelancing was actually 10 years ago. And the second best time is now. Yes, that's true. Because I've read a lot of news in the Philippines that the local stakeholders and even the DITC in the Philippines is working hard for Filipinos to participate in the global digital economy. And if you're familiar with the BPO, we already know. Okay, we already know that Philippines takes a huge part in this global outsourcing, okay, the economy. I've been invited to speak to the Digital ASEAN Summit last November as well, and the local stakeholders are there to help us become tech savvy and to create our own businesses and of course become freelancers and earn from the comforts of our home. And of course, guys, remote or hybrid work is here to stay. The problem arises when someone is not pulling the weight. Ito yung magiging problema ng asynchronous work. That's why you need to develop character over skills. And as I've said earlier, in Article and Design courses, we focus on knowledge and wisdom because it's very important that you develop your character if you really want to crush it this 2022. What's the future of freelancing, Margaret, will look like probably in 2022 or onwards? From where I'm located, guys, and where I'm sitting, it's business as usual. But I could see that business through the lens of COVID. Work has probably changed forever, and it's here to stay. We've seen that already. And freelance is also a path to entrepreneurship. You want a concrete example? I started as a freelancer before I created my own businesses, and at the same time, I'm still a freelancer now. That's why I'm a practitioner. So we all moved into working from home setup, most of us. Most businesses closed. Most businesses started to open their social media accounts, they created their websites, and of course, online shopping. Online shopping or e-commerce is one of the Goliaths in the freelancing or the digital world in 2022 and onwards. So if you wanted to tap this one, online shopping, I suggest you tap it now. Virtually everything became digital. What I'm trying to say is that if you're not taking advantage of this industry yet, guys, now is the time. Now is the best time. Because there is a silver lining for those willing to seize the opportunity. Wow, thank you so much for listening or watching this video lessons I did, and thank you for bearing with me since this is the best I can do despite my allergies. I mean, you guys, you have no idea how difficult for me it is right now. And I'm sorry I don't have the usual slides that I used to do before, but I'm just testing this if you like this type of slides that I'm doing. So have a safe and happy holidays, everyone. or whatever you are celebrating, you are cordially invited to our Article and Design virtual Christmas party this December 30, 2021, 7 p.m. in the Philippines. Please stay tuned, watch out for the link on our Facebook group, Facebook page, or probably we're going to send it to your emails. So please attend. We're going to have some prizes and giveaways, and of course, spend time with your fellow freelancers and business owners. This is Margaret and my last webinar for the year 2021, and thank you once again for supporting me in this mission. And I'm signing off this 2021, and I will see you, okay, bright and shining this 2022. So if you want to connect with me, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Article and Design, or email us at admin@articleanddesign.com, and I will answer your questions. Thank you for listening. Until then, I will see you next time. So please check out our courses at articleanddesigncourses.com. It's currently on sale. Prices will go up next year, so grab the cheaper costs, but of course, guys, quality that you can use in your freelancing career this 2022. Of course, as I've always been suggesting to all my friends and my students, whenever you start your year, I suggest to read these books. If you have an access to this one, or if you can purchase this, go search for Ego is the Enemy, The $100 Startup, and The Courage to Be Disliked. It's a good reading, especially when starting the year. So thank you once again. Happy holidays and have a happy new year. And I will see you in our virtual Christmas party. And please stay grounded. I'll have the slides available to you if you want to read all the things I've discussed now. Thank you once again, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.